friends. So this week we are going to talk about some stuff that we know we should not do, but we do anyway. I'm not talking about eating free chocolate bars when you're supposed to be on a diet. I'm talking about something that is actually way worse than that, because it does long-term damage to every part of us, including our mental health. I'm talking about giving second, third, and 37th chances to people who not only do not deserve that, but who would definitely not do that for you if the tables were turned. I'm also talking about making excuse after excuse for people who did things that are really not excusable. We're going to talk about why we need to stop protecting and romanticizing people who hurt you. And look, this is something that we have all been guilty of at some point in our lives. In fact, think about this for a second. Have you ever noticed that the people who have caused us the most emotional damage are usually the people that we protect the most? When they are mistreating us, or disrespecting us, or playing us for a fool, or doing things that other people immediately raise an eyebrow at, some of the first things that we say are things like, oh, they didn't mean it, or they are just like that, or they're just going through a hard time, or they had a bad childhood, so that's the reason why they act this way. I don't know about you, but when I have heard things like this over and over from someone about a friend or a partner, I don't put any weight into it, because it just doesn't convince me, sorry. I know that statements like this actually mean something else, and that is, they treated me really badly, but I'm going to explain it away so that I don't have to confront how much that hurt me. Do you know why I know and why I am so confidently saying this in front of this camera? Because I used to do this. I used to do it all the time. But here's what I learned after doing that for years, after getting straight up burnt out on being a doormat. If someone could not spare my dignity or my emotional well-being or my peace, then why the hell should I spare their ego, their reputation, or their comfort? Why am I so worried about not hurting their feelings when they did not give a crap about hurting mine? I didn't have a good answer, by the way. I didn't even have a mediocre one. But it did make me realize that some of this probably came from that standard training that we're all given when we're young. We are encouraged to be the bigger person and not stoop to their level when someone mistreats us. We're taught that to avoid conflict and keep the peace and blah, 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 that is all better than actually confronting. And it sounds noble, right? But, well, how much peace are we really keeping when we are the ones that are being hurt? We might be avoiding conflict with somebody else, but what are we doing to ourselves in the process? We aren't keeping any peace for ourselves at all. What are we doing? We instead are eroding our self-esteem. We're lowering our self-worth. Oh, and self-abandoning. We're definitely doing that. When we are taught to just turn the other cheek, or whatever you want to call it, we're learning to value harmony over honesty. And this is not the way that it should be, because by definition, harmony means a combination of some kind, whether it be in music or literature or something else. It cannot be just one thing. So one-sided harmony is really just quiet suffering by one person, probably you. So besides that conditioning, there has to be something more to it than just that, right? There has to be something that makes us do this all the time. There's actually several somethings, actually. One is definitely a fear of conflict. Most people don't like conflicts. I know I don't. I said most on purpose here, because there are some people who actually love it, but that's a whole other video. But avoiding it in situations like this, you're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, when a relationship of any kind, where you are making excuses for things that are really, truly just not okay that other person is doing, it doesn't matter how badly you want to avoid to rock the boat, because, friends, that thing is already sinking. And then there's guilt. Sometimes you don't want to emulate the person who is treating you badly. You don't want to be like them. In other words, you don't want to cause pain to somebody else, even when you yourself are in pain. But remember what we talked about earlier, about feeling bad for hurting someone who had no such consideration about hurting when it came to you? Yeah, listen, you should never feel guilty for protecting yourself or standing up for yourself or looking out for your well-being. But you should especially not do it with people who hurt you. Another reason we continue to protect people that have done us dirty is that we often have this hope that they will have a nirvana, that they will change and the situation will correct itself. That if somehow you're accommodating enough or nice enough or make good enough excuses, I don't know, they will see that and they'll see you and magically wake up one day treating you with value and respect. Spoiler alert, that isn't going to happen. It doesn't even happen in movies most of the time, let alone in real life. People only change for one reason, because they want to. What motivates that change can be different, but honestly, you know when many people like to make this kind of change, when they realize that they have effed up and lost a real one. When they find themselves with a downgrade, a dollar store knockoff friend or partner who's just a cheap imitation of that real one. Or when they find themselves alone. Sad but true. And then, of course, it's too late. So, or at least it better be. And finally, there's one more reason that people protect others who hurt them, and that's trauma bonding. This one's rough. We're going to do a video on that in the very near future, but when you have been emotionally manipulated or invalidated enough, you become used to protecting your abuser from discomfort so that it becomes second nature. That's your trauma bond right there. And the stronger that is, the more committed the person can be to just being this other person's fixer for pretty much everything. It is a non-stop job. So regardless of the reasons that we protect the people that hurt us, I think that there's a really important question that you should ask yourself when you find yourself engaging in that behavior. For all the times that you have done this, make excuses for these people, avoid the truth because it makes them uncomfortable, or letting them turn things that hurt you into a joke so they can avoid feeling guilty, whatever it is, when's the last time that they protected you? Yeah, exactly. Listen, when you withhold the truth to protect someone who's harmed you, you're not being kind or nice, you're being compliant. You're teaching them that it's okay. There are no consequences. Just keep doing whatever you want and I'll keep absorbing your impact quietly. And when you keep doing that, the cycle never ends. What's worse, you may even start to think that this dynamic is normal. And it absolutely isn't, by any means. And look, we wouldn't need to have this conversation if all of this didn't come at a tremendous cost to your mental health. Protecting the wrong people always has a cost, and you always pay it, friends. Every time you shrink yourself to avoid making them uncomfortable, you're sending a message to your nervous system that your needs are not important, that your pain doesn't matter, so you can just put it on the side from now. You don't heal from that pain because you don't ever fix things that you don't face head on. Doing this over time, it takes its toll. It can make you stop trusting your gut. You can start resenting yourself. You internalize the belief that keeping other people happy and protecting them is more important than you being happy, than protecting your own mental health. And you know, what I think is the saddest about all of this is that sometimes the person you're shielding in this way isn't even in your life anymore. but they are still living rent-free in your decision-making and your self-talk and your boundaries. I think it's time to evict them, don't you? Here's some ways that you can do just that. Number 1, tell the truth to yourself. Name what happened in real talk terms. Don't sugarcoat the betrayal. Don't say what it is and then, but they didn't really mean it. No, none of that. Be honest with yourself. Sometimes hearing something put in those kinds of terms can really put those things into great perspective. Number 2, if this person is still in your life, stop practicing all that fake diplomacy. You can be honest and respectful, but either way, you don't owe them anything. Not silence, not an explanation. You don't have to tell them why what they're doing is not okay. They should know that. You don't have to prepare a 10-slide PowerPoint to explain. A simple statement like, that was not okay, and I'm not going to tolerate that, can be so powerful. Number 3, set emotional boundaries. You're allowed to say, I'm not talking about them anymore to others. You're allowed to block or mute or walk away, whatever is most comfortable for you. And if they're sending their flying monkeys, meaning people that you have in common, to get information or give updates, you're allowed to tell them to go scratch too. Personally, I think this kind of behavior is gross. It was done to me at one point, and I've never forgiven it, because there is nothing lower than pretending to be somebody's friend so they can just report back to the person who hurt you or be Captain Screenshot. Just grow up. If you think that's being a friend to either party, you have a lot to learn about friendship. If the person is in your life, you can still set those same boundaries. You can simply say, I am not going to have this conversation anymore, and that's it. That works very well in bringing home that point. Number 4, stop managing their image. You don't have to bash them, but you're not required to lie for them either. Remember what we have said on this channel lots of times before. If people want you to speak nicely about them when you tell your story, then they should have acted better. Period. Number 5, let go of guilt over anything you do in steps 1 through 4. Their feelings and how they look to others or whatever else you're protecting is not more important than how you feel, than your healing. Number 6, reclaim your voice. Start choosing honesty over harmony. Peace that costs you your integrity, it isn't peace. It's people-pleasing dressed as diplomacy in a very ugly dress. Number 7, walk away if you need to. Some people only learn, unfortunately, through distance. That's the only way they really get it. So let them learn from your absence what they couldn't seem to figure out in your presence. So here's what I hope you take away from this video. Stop sacrificing your peace for the illusion of being nice. Stop protecting people from the discomfort of their own behavior. You're not being mean or rude. You're being honest with yourself and with others. Stop apologizing for them too. If they aren't sorry about how they acted, then why should you be the one to carry that load? At the end of the day, the people who steamrollered over you and your feelings, they made a choice to do that. So you do not have to feel guilty about making your own choice without considering them at all, because you don't owe them a damn thing. Period. That's all I've got for you this week. I'll be back next week with another priority message. Until then, take good care of yourselves. Bye.